Hey everybody, welcome to the At Home with Melissa channel. I'm glad that you're here because I want to share with you the cute little plant you see in front of me. Now this one might look familiar to you, especially if you're a regular viewer of this channel, because I have shown in the past one of its cousins called Nepenthes alata. This one is Nepenthes ventricosa, and it's a beautiful little carnivorous plant. It catches insects in these little pitchers that you see here. And in fact, if you can see the bottom of this pitcher looks a little bit dark, that is because it is already full of gnats. I have a little gnat midge problem here in my house, and I'm keeping an eye out on the cat. We're on take 3, and Chloe, is the reason, because she, for some reason, even if she's ignoring me all day, and those of you who live with cats, you know what I'm talking about. Even if you can't get her attention all day, if you start doing something you don't want her involved in, like typing on your computer or filming for your YouTube channel, she's going to be right there. So anyway, she is off now chasing her sister. Good deal. All right, so the Nepenthes ventricosa, you can see here it's got this veining. It has lovely little reddish veins in it, and it can be, the pictures can be any color from, say, an off-white to a really deep pink to a red, wide variety of colors. Mine are green, and they may change as it grows older, I think. I don't know that for sure. I've never had one of these grow to maturity. I've never tried. But I do know that the pictures come in those various colors. Now this plant is bigger than its cousin that I showed you before. It can grow up to 8 inches tall, which is about 20 centimeters. And where it's found in nature is in the mountains in the Philippines. So whenever you're growing a plant in your home that has a wild counterpart, if you want to know how to take care of your plant, a good thing to do is to think about where you'd see it in nature, what kind of environment it would be in. So normally these are found in the mountains of the Philippines, so you've got a lot of vegetation, you've got high humidity, you've got high heat. So that's kind of what this little guy likes. But unlike a lot of other Nepenthes, you can actually grow these in lower latitudes, some of them lower altitudes, some of them, is that right? Yeah, not so high in the mountains. You don't have to grow them in like a mountainous thing. And these also, unlike a lot of their cousins, will tolerate hard water. And you have to watch with a lot of Nepenthes using, say, tap water, because the minerals in it and things, the hard water they don't tolerate so well. These ones will, the ventricosa. You also have to watch any kind of buildup of minerals, because the reason that they collect insects and digest those for their nutritional value is that where they grow, they don't get a whole lot of nutrients through their roots. And in fact, if you use regular water instead of like a distilled water or something, over time this can cause a buildup that can actually fry the roots, because that's not how they're designed to take in their minerals. So you want to watch that. Water them with distilled water preferably, or something close to that. Like I said, the Nepenthes ventricosa will tolerate hard water, however, unlike its cousins. And you also need to watch with any plants. Chlorine, not good. So if you go to the store and for $1 or less you buy a gallon of distilled water, or say you distill your own water or whatever, that's probably better to use for these guys. And you want to never, ever, ever, ever let them dry out. If you do, they'll stop making their pitchers, which is the whole reason you're getting a pitcher plant. And they also can develop different malformations of the rest of the plant. So you want to make sure you keep them moist, but don't get them too wet. You don't want sitting water in the bottom. That'll cause root rot. And so that might sound a little bit complicated. Okay, you can't have it too wet, you can't have it too dry. Now, basically, it's easy. Just make sure to keep it moist all the time. Just moist. Not wet, not dry. Just moist. A lot of people grow them in terrariums, which is a good idea, or in only greenhouses, also a good idea. I'm going to grow them in my kitchen. And in fact, what I'm going to do with this little fella here is that I have hanging baskets that are made out of a natural grassy material. I have removed the lath and plaster ceiling for my ceilings, leaving the floor joists from the floor above exposed. So the rafters are exposed in here, and in the rafters I'm going to put 2x4s with holes drilled in the 2x4s, putting a little pole between them made out of basically little branches that I've harvested from trees as I've pruned them. I've stripped the bark, I've dried them, and I'm going to make little bars, and from those I'm going to suspend hanging plants. And this is going to be one of them, because these will, as the plant gets larger, they'll dip even lower, and that'll be nice. It'll look nice, and not only that, it'll help take care of the midge problem that I have in my house. And so I plan to have a lot of different carnivorous plants suspended from the ceiling at different heights, and I think that that'll be really, really nice, and that I'll enjoy it. But these guys, like I said, they're not hard. They're not hard to deal with. And if you don't have a terrarium and you don't want to have to watch them as closely as I'm going to have to, if I'm going to have them do well and thrive in my kitchen, and yeah, guys, I don't really trust me, but I'm going to do it anyway. Odds are I'll probably end up losing some of my plants, because I don't know, if you're anything like me, I do go through periods where I babysit them really well. I go through other periods where if I'm, say, feeling under the weather, or I'm really super busy, whatever the case might be, maybe I'm not as vigilant with my plants as I should be, which is why I like growing things in water, hydroponically. But these guys, I'm going to be growing them in soil, and they need that kind of greenhouse type environment. And since I'm not putting them in terrariums, I'm going to just have to mist them once or twice a day. And I'm going to mist them with distilled water. So that's what I'm hoping to do. I'm hoping to be vigilant and keep up with that so that they don't develop problems, because that makes you a bad plant mommy or daddy, depending on the case. And if you want to make it a little easier on yourself, you don't have a greenhouse and you want the plants out where you can see them anyway, and you can make a terrarium. Anything really can be a terrarium. You could even put it in a mason jar. Put soil up to a certain level, put it in a mason jar. That glass will help to hold some moisture in. You can do that, but I don't like that particular thing to put my plants in that need high humidity. And the reason I don't is I have a difficult time then getting in there if I want to work with the plant. I do have some hurricane lamps. Check out my other video if you want to see what I'm talking about. I have hurricane lamps, basically, in which you're meant to put, say, a tea candle or whatever. And they were used as centerpieces for a wedding, and then were given to me after the wedding was over. And there's a plate on the bottom. I put the plant there. The globe holds moisture in, and I can remove the globe to work on the plants. So I have a video that I had done on the Nepenthes alata. If you'd like to check that out, you'll see what I'm talking about with the globes that I mentioned, made out of the hurricane lamps. You can also purchase online or in stores little glass globes with openings for plants, and those make a nice little environment for these guys, and it also gives you something that you can hang if you want them hung somewhere. And let me show you something else you can do. Hang tight. This. Yep. Your used 2-liter soda bottle. What you can do if you want to is you can cut little holes, 1 or 2 of them, in the bottle, and plant your plant in the bottom, and you can access it to water it and things like that through those holes, and also that's how you'll be planting the plant. And then you can, say, drill holes around here and hang them, or you can put a series of them where excess water through holes that you'll drill in the bottoms will drip into the next one down, and so on. And you can make these into your little miniature greenhouses. They work perfectly well, and I intend to make a lot of these elsewhere in my house, but I don't want them hanging suspended at different heights in my kitchen. For that, I want the hanging baskets. So these I might somehow rig to hang on a wall or in windows, things like that, but not in the kitchen. I will be planting things in them though. It's a great second use for a 2-liter soda bottle, so it doesn't go right into the recycling bin. It gets at least 2 lives out of it before it gets recycled. And so that's really a nice thing to do and a good way to plant these guys. And so you will probably in future videos see my Nepenthes ventricosa. And again, you know, the difference between this and its cousin, the Nepenthes alata, is you can see that the little pitchers are a lot larger. Like its cousin, it has on the pitchers little lids that remain closed while the pitchers themselves are developing. And then when the pitchers, how do you like my dirty I'm planting things fingernails? When the pitchers are mature and ready to accept insects to eat, the little lid opens up, the insects come in, and when it has eaten all that it's going to, the lid closes back down. So it's really a neat thing. Nature does some just incredible stuff. And, you know, look at how pretty this is. I mean, look at those leaves. It's a great color, great shape, really nice. And to have a bunch of these hanging out at different heights in the house, some of them you'll see from the top, some of them you'll see from the sides, some you'll see from the bottom and get to look at that beautiful veining. It just, you know, I think it's going to be gorgeous. I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. And that's basically all I really wanted to tell you about the Nepenthes ventricosa. Slightly larger pots, and they can get up to about yay big. And the plant can get up to about this tall, 8 inches, 20 centimeters. Keep it moist, don't keep it wet. Watch getting too many minerals in it. Don't use chlorinated water. A lot of that's basically the same thing for just about any plant, you know, that you would get from a tropical area. So, oh, and one last thing, it will not withstand a lot of direct sunlight. So don't have it out in a super, super sunny area. I have its cousin in a windowsill where it gets a lot of sunlight, but it's indirect sunlight, and it's doing really well. It's thriving. This little guy is going to be in my kitchen where it gets some sunlight coming in. You can see behind me I've strung burlap over them so that our lighting's better. You know, I don't want to be backlit, but behind me are the kitchen windows, and so a lot of light comes into the room, and you also have the light from the overhead lights. So this little guy's going to get a lot of light. It's not going to get a lot of direct sunlight, and that's what you want, because if you get too much direct sunlight on these fellas, they're going to fry. So that's all that you need to know to be able to go out and grow yourself some beautiful Nepenthes ventricosa. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you join us for many more in the future. Have a good day. Go out there and enjoy yourself. Get your fingers dirty. Bye-bye.